Hello, welcome to another session of Learn with Veer Sagar. Today we will talk about retention. And when we talk about retention, a couple of questions come to mind. The first question is, what is a good retention? What percentage of people should you retain? What's a good retention for a company? Second question, who is responsible for retention in the company? Who is responsible for the attrition in the company? Who is tasked with making sure that the attrition or the retention is above or below the percentage that you set up for yourself? And the third question, which is probably in my mind the most important question, why do people leave? Because once you know why people leave, then you can work out how to keep them back. Let's start with the first question. What is a good retention percentage? What percentage of attrition, if you have, you consider as not a good company? A lot of people think, oh, I have 100% retention. I have zero attrition. Is that good? To my mind, it is not. If you have zero attrition, you must create attrition. You may be having a lot of good things which keep people in your company, or it may be they all feel so comfortable. They are in a comfort zone and therefore do not want to be dislodged. And I think then you should light a fire under a few people. So you should have a certain percentage of people always leaving. If they don't leave because of natural causes, then you need to push them out. What is that percentage? That is for each individual company to work out. But a broad thumb rule is 10%. And why should you have a 10% retention, people leaving? That's because you want to get in some fresh ideas. When you have the same people all the time, it sort of becomes an incestuous growth. No fresh ideas come in, nothing happens, and everybody is feeling very comfortable and cozy with each other. That's not good for a company. A company must be shaken up from time to time. So you have to push out a certain percentage and bring in that same percentage of good people, fresh people. I'm assuming the people with you already are good, but fresh people. They bring in new ideas. Also, it does a lot of help in your cost management. You see, generally the people that you will push out, and if you're pushing out newcomers, trainees, then you have wasted your effort on pushing out. Then you need to push people who've been there for a long time and been in a very comfortable position, and they're not aggressive enough to go forward. You do not see them reaching any much higher positions. You see them there only doing a certain job, plodding their way. These are the guys who become your target for pushing out. When you push them out, then you save a lot of salary because they are probably in among the better people. So once you push them out, then you are taking in fresh people, mostly trainees. Right? Then your cost comes down, and this saving in cost you can help in paying better salaries to the people you're retaining. So first question is, what's a good percentage of people that you want to retain? What is a percentage of attrition which is a good percentage to have? The next question is then, who is responsible for retention and attrition in the company? Right? I would personally, as a CEO for most of my career, I would say the CEO. Because the job of a CEO is people, customers, employees, suppliers. Rest there are other people who can take care of that. There are people to look after technology, people look after growth, people look after production, delivery, logistics, everybody. But generally, in most companies, it's the HR manager who does that. And when he's targeted with keeping a high retention figure, he does what he knows best, is pay. Give you bribe, entice you, give you some more money, or give you some more perks. And then you have things, when the things were bad in the IT company once, when people were leaving by droves, we had companies giving dating allowance, movie allowance, weekly reviews, quarterly reviews, all kinds of strange things so that you entice people to stay back. Generally, people do not leave because they need a job, because they need more money. It's a myth. We think that people leave an organization for better pay. It's not true. They leave because they are unhappy, and that unhappiness normally is linked to the boss. If they see they have a boss who is not interested in them, he does not empathize, or with whom they cannot move forward, they have a career block, right? Or they have a growth block. Anyway, then they start looking outside. It's a strange thing that an employee will look outside in a new company where he has no clue what kind of boss he's going to get, whether he's going to be worse or better, but he will take that chance rather than stay on here. And then when he is leaving, of course, he's looking for better salary. And he leaves, he gets a better salary, and he probably gets a lot of other things too. So the main question then we have to ask is, why is people leaving? And if it goes back to the boss, so therefore we have to start understanding if there is a friction, if there is some problem. As I used to keep saying when I walk around and I talk to people, and I used to go back to the HR manager and say, so and so is feeling weak in the slot. Now, generally the HR manager would go and hit him on the head and say, how dare you say that to the CEO, and the guy would have left next day. But generally, if you tell him he's weak in the slot, then somebody needs to talk to him or her and find out what is it that is affecting. Is it a personal problem which is not being appreciated by anybody? Is it his or her career or her work not being appreciated? I had an incident with a boss. He's one of my best bosses I've ever had. And once I complained to him, I said, look, I work so hard, I do such a great job. Not once you have told me well done. Whereas I have seen you telling people well done for people who have not done such a good job, etc. So he says, see, there are people and there are people. Each people gets motivated by different things. Those people you get motivated by a pat in the back. People leave when they feel that they are blocked. Their career is going nowhere, then they are not growing as a person, and therefore, right, they look out. And this blockage can generally be traced back to the boss for different reasons. And there are bosses and there are bosses. Some bosses do not look beyond themselves, and some bosses have their own idea of who should do what, and you do not fit into their scheme of things. In my 35 years of working as an employee, I changed 3 jobs, right? And each time I changed the job because I felt I had come to a dead end. I had blocked and I cannot go any further here. And that change or that feeling came, essentially I could trace it back to the boss. So whatever it is, retention may be the responsibility of the HR manager, but it's the responsibility of each boss, each person who has people working under him or her, to ensure that they are happy and grow. And the retention can only come by accumulation, a sum totaling of all these managers looking after their people. Next time, I will talk about who you should retain and why you should retain them and how you should retain them and who is responsible to ensure that they are retained. Till that time, it's Veer Sagar saying goodbye and see you next time.